Well, ending off here, it's not just conservatives that are being censored. You also have Democrats that are being censored. I find it odd, and I feel like there's some sort of conspiracy here that I want to talk about. I love conspiracy theories. I don't necessarily believe in them, but I love at least hearing them out. We'll get to it in just one moment, but you have freaking, you have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. here being censored by YouTube for talking about something that I don't agree with, by the way, but I think he should have a right to say it. So the social media giant YouTube took down an interview of Democrat presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., claiming that chemicals in the water are turning kids transgender. On Sunday, both Kennedy and a podcast host, Jordan Peterson, tweeted that the video sharing website had taken down their interview for an episode of Peterson's show and accused the social media platform of censorship, and interfering with a presidential campaign. I mean, I thought we weren't supposed to do things like that. I thought maybe this is another Russian hoax. Maybe the Russians took it down, you guys. Maybe the Russians were spying on Americans or whatever the hell it was. Maybe it's the Chinese again, who knows. But what do you think? Should social media platforms censor presidential candidates? No, I don't think so. Kennedy asked on Twitter. My conversation with Peterson was deleted by YouTube. And it's not the only time he's been censored by these big tech companies. And here's where I think the conspiracy theory comes in. I think there's people that have been in government for so long, like Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, mainly them too. I mean, you also have Nancy Pelosi and others that have been in government literally their entire lives. And I think that they have these people out there within government that sit there and have basically their tentacles out and everywhere in all institutions that are sitting there and censoring people that go against them or have the people that potentially put them out of office. And the reason why I say this, and it kind of comes from the deep state, maybe that's what more I'm referring to here. I'm kind of ad-libbing as I go, is Jason Chaffetz, who used to be a representative, a congressman of Utah, wrote a book again called The Deep State. And he was kind of talking about when Hillary Clinton was in office, there's a lot of when Benghazi was taking place with Trey Gowdy, who was a congressman from, I think, South Carolina, on the Intelligence Committee with Jason Chaffetz as well. And they were kind of talking about the deep state. And Jason Chaffetz, who was the chairman of the Oversight Committee, saying that he would go on undisclosed planes to make sure that nobody could stop him in other countries. Nobody knew where he was, not even his own wife, not his own age. Nobody knew. On an undocumented plane, nobody had a clue where he was going. And suits would show up in the exact location before he would even get there. Nobody knew the location. Nobody knew how he was going to get there. Somehow they found out about the location and would stop him from going into a place where he was legally allowed to be. So I think there's these elites out there. I think there's some sort of thing going on, potentially, where they're trying to stop people from competing against Joe Biden. When did we see this? Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders was out really quick. And who was it? It was the Democrat Party. Bernie Sanders was out real quick. And now you're kind of seeing it here with Mr. Kennedy. But luckily, you could watch it on here, Twitter. Thank you, Elon Musk. I mean, it's amazing how Elon Musk sits there and rises to the occasion once again, making sure people have a free speech platform where the Democrat Party is supposedly for the Constitution, but doesn't want free speech because it's hateful. It's hurtful to you. It's a disgrace. If you don't like it, guess what you could do? As we always say as adults, what do we say to our kids, folks? If you don't like something, what can you do with that channel? You turn it off. You could switch it. If you don't want to watch it, then don't watch it. I don't understand. If people don't like something, why do they have to go, well, I don't like that? Okay, then don't watch it. I mean, we have people in the comments and on the show here going, I don't like your show. I don't like this or that. Okay, I understand. Like, that's fine. Don't watch it. It's not for everybody. It's a hobby. I don't do this for money. I'm not a corporation. I just have fun doing it. I love hanging out with the community that we do have that does want to watch it because we have a blast having and doing this. We have a great community here. Hit that join tab if you haven't already. Hit the join tab if you want to become a patriot. We would love your support. But there's people out there that it's just astonishing. They go, well, I don't like that. I don't like that show. Okay, well, don't watch it then. It's not a big deal. There's a ton of other content out there that you can watch. If you don't like Kennedy, then don't listen to him. If you don't like Donald Trump, then don't listen to him. If you don't like Joe Biden, then don't listen to him. I don't like Joe Biden, but I do a show here. I find it hilarious of him fumbling through his words trying to get a coherent thought out. It's like gambling. Do you think he's going to be able to get through a sentence this go around? I don't think so, but let's figure it out. Let's see. Maybe you can help me figure out what misinformation was in this interview. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't agree with what Kennedy's saying here. I think he has the right to say it. He's a Democrat, by the way, folks. I always said I will champion your right of free speech. I don't agree with him. Look, he has a right to say it. I think it's a little bonkers. I think it's a little silly. But I mean, hey, I talk about UFOs on Supernatural Saturday. It's a little bonkers. It's a little silly. But I think we all have a right to say it. You don't have to agree with it. And you know what? It might actually intrigue me to go out and listen to what this guy has to say and research it and find out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm going, well, that's a little silly, man. You're thinking the water's turning kids trans. I think it's a little far-fetched. And then it ends up possibly being right. I don't know. That's the great thing about free speech. We could sit there as people with brains that work and we go, hey, you know what? I'm not sure if I'm for it, Let me buy some books. Let me look into the research on this and actually spend some time to see if what you're saying is true. And that's a great thing about free speech. You have to sit there and offend people to seek out the truth. You're not always going to offend people, but sometimes you will to seek out the truth. People are being offended by Mr. Kennedy's words here when they shouldn't be. Quote, now YouTube has taken upon itself to actively interfere with a presidential election campaign. Yes, they have, but nothing's going to happen to them. They're big tech. Kennedy's campaign told Fox News Digital that although vaccines are not a major priority for Mr. Kennedy in this campaign, he will be happy to debate the issue with any prominent proponent on conventional view. Mr. Kennedy does not believe the attacks are coordinated. People are simply speaking out according to what they believe, Kennedy's campaign said. These beliefs are the result of the long influence of corporate money in medicine, research, media, and government. I mean, there you put a long list of things. I mean, let's be honest here. It's your own party that sits there censoring you, man. You have to be honest with yourself. It's your party that's doing it. YouTube is not Republican. We have 36,000 subscribers roughly on the show, and some of our videos get 36 views. They're not censoring Democrats. It's amazing how Democrats are thriving on YouTube, and Republicans are constantly being censored and suppressed. Even so, there are troubling indications in published research of serious safety issues with vaccines in general. I agree with that. But especially the COVID shots. 100% agree with that. The real issue for Mr. Kennedy is regulatory capture and corporate influence over government. He is in favor of properly conducted, unbiased, transparent safety testing for all vaccines. I agree, but you can't say stuff like that. It was amazing how for like 2 years you couldn't say a lot of things about COVID, and now it's completely out there. And now the Democrats and progressives go, yeah, maybe it is from a Wuhan lab. Oh, maybe it wasn't as bad. Yeah, maybe statistically it wasn't as bad. Depending on your age, it was bad, by the way. Okay, statistically, based on your age, if you were older, you had some sort of comorbidities within there. So basically the things that will lead you to death, like maybe being overweight, or maybe you had asthma, or you had something wrong with your lungs, or your smoke, or whatever it may be, that's going to increase your risk of death. And the flu does it as well. A lot of diseases will sit there and kind of exacerbate some underlying issue that you already had. So it is true that depending on whatever your age was, there kind of was a function a little bit there. I'm not going to say it's fully exponential, but there was some sort of function that will actually increase your risk of death with COVID-19. I think you'd be silly not to agree with that, but there's a lot of people that sat there and had a 99.9% survival rate that were sitting there masked up in their car by themselves with the air conditioning on. We gotta be careful what we say here. You never know when we're gonna get removed. I mean, this continues to go, but I kind of wanted to keep this one short. We're going a little bit long today, but what do you think about the conspiracy? I mean, I would love to know what you guys think about this, and I really do mean that. You guys know I read all the comments. What do you think's going on here? Do you think there's some sort of group out there that coalesces with one another and kind of communicates and goes, look, we can't have this guy running against Joe Biden? Or, I mean, who else is running against Joe? I mean, there's not really anybody, right? I mean, there'll probably be a couple of little stingers that pop up, but I mean, why are people so gung-ho about having Joe Biden in office? Remove Trump out of the equation. Let's just remove Trump out of the equation. They are still for Joe Biden being in office, which is going to be interesting, right? Because it's going to be really fascinating. Like say, let's just be theoretical here. Say Trump is gone, right? Let's just remove it from the equation. Are they going to still push the whole race argument with DeSantis? Are they going to push the whole race argument with Vivek Ramaswamy? Because Vivek is Indian. So, I mean, how does that one play out? I'm just curious. Or Nikki Haley, who's a minority, who's Indian. Like, how is all this going to play out? I mean, are you going to call them a racist too? It's going to be interesting how this homophobe, xenophobe, all this stuff that they're calling Trump, like, does it just shift over? Because that's generally what it does, what they do, right? They did it with Bush, right? And then somehow it disappeared under the Obama administration. And Obama was one that's going to be the great new hope, right? And unify the country and all these things. And he didn't do the damn thing. It actually made the country worse. According to Thomas Sowell, who's black, by the way, writes many books. You should read his books. But then it kind of, racism was back on again. It just kind of appeared out of nowhere. All those people that were white that voted for Barack Obama now are racist once again and voted for Trump or whatever the hell they were pushing. And then now, Joe Biden's office, now racism is gone once again, or it's still there according to what we saw in our first segment with systemic racism, but it's not Joe Biden's fault. Isn't it amazing how Kamala Harris called Joe Biden racist? And multiple times, by the way, but some like now she's supporting a racist. I mean, you guys see it? Am I the only one that doesn't see it or does see it? Let me know in the comment section below, but let me hear your conspiracy theories on this. A lot of tangents today, very unorganized today. I'm on vacation. But I want to know what the hell's going on here with censoring Mr. Kennedy, not allowing him to speak because it's not the first time it's happened. It seems to continually happen. It seems like they don't want to push him out there. He has about 14% approval rating. I think he should be a lot higher than Joe. I don't know what the hell's going on with that. The guy's actually coherent. His voice is a little messed up, but that's not his fault. Joe Biden's brain's messed up. I'm not sure if that is or is not his fault, but the guy can't keep running this country because he's running it into the ground. With that being said, support the Bald Brad Show by hitting that like and subscribe button. Join us, folks. Hit that join tab down below. Not subscribe, but join tab. Become an American Patriot yourself. It's $4.99, $9.99 a month. You know where your money's going. We would really, really love for you to join us here. The perks are you get to hang out with everybody in the live chat with a cool badge, but it really does just support the show and allows us to grow, to get conservative thought and ideas out to new viewers. So if that's something that interests you, we'd love to have you join us. Come on board. With that being said, I'll see you tomorrow here on the Bald Brad Show. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.